Hi, this is Numeric Citizen here. In today's video, get ready for Craft 3.0 and it's all about collections. Let's get into it. First, let's review the Craft data model because collection is really building on top of what we already have in Craft. So a collection is a group of pages and they are presented in a table format. So a collection is a group of page, but those page does have something different than other pages. They do have user-defined fields. So each collection items actually has a page that will have different fields that any users will define. So depending on your use case for collections, you will set a different set of fields to describe what is actually an item in a collection. So for this, for the illustration purposes of this in this video, I'm going to use a real world example where you could use a Craft collection to support a very specific workflow. So a collection can be created inside a page, but it also can be created, of course, inside a document. And you can have collections sitting anywhere in any page, and each collection is unique in itself. So if you define a collection inside a template, for example, that collection will be unique to that document which comes from this template. So this is something that you have to keep in mind. So again, those fields are kind of characterizing the information that you want to gather for each collection item, and this is how we usually find database to be built, like in Notion. Notion uses a similar approach to gather a group of fields to describe a database record, which actually in Notion is a page. So I'm going now to use a very specific use case to illustrate how those concepts fit together. When I was getting ready to create this video, I was thinking about what would be the best use case and the most realistic use case that I could use to illustrate the concepts and how you use the collections in Craft. So I decided to use a user feedback pipeline where in this example, let's imagine that people are using a software like Craft, for example, and they want to submit feedback. You might want, as a company, try to track those feedback, and you could use Craft collections to do so. So the first collection in this example will be actually the user feedback themselves. So for those feedback, we will give a title and also an area where the feedback is targeting inside Craft, and also the date submitted, and also the state of the processing of this feedback, and by whom it is processed, and also when it is going to be, which release will address this specific feedback request or this request. As you can see here, the view of the page is rather narrow, and you'll learn soon enough that when you're working with collections that you should work and you must work using the white page instead, because it's much easier to manipulate the content of the collection. So that's the user feedback collection. Each feedback should be handled by one or more Craft employee, and this is the reason I have created another collection, which is called the employees of the company. So let's say I'm one of those employees, and by the way, I'm not paid or I'm not working for Craft. And there's Victor and Balint. Those two people are really working for the company, and those people will be assigned to each user feedback. And the third part of this example is the fact that we will be building releases to address those feedback. So a release will have a title, a version number, a date to be released, and what the release contains, what are the areas of which feedbacks are being addressed by this specific release. So I think overall is a very good example of how and why you would use Craft Collection to support your workflow. Now let's review the first collection, which is the user feedback collection itself. So to do that, you will click once here, second, third click, and then you see the configuration of the collection. So I have the name for that, which is the user feedback. And the first field is the title, and it is a mandatory field that you cannot change, because the reason for that is because, as I said earlier in the video, a collection item is a page, and all pages does have a title. So this is why you've got the title here. The second field is the area in which is targeting, which the user feedback itself would be targeting. So if I click on that, you'll see that this is a multiple select type of field, which allows the user to select different tags that will be available once the user enter or create a new collection item. You'll notice here that if I click on this, you can change the color of the tag. You cannot change any of the icon before, so it's mandatory to use that specific design. And if I cancel that, you'll see that the colors are reflected in all the tags. I could add another value where it could be something about security, and I could give a red color to this specific tag. So people could submit a new user feedback, which is targeting the security area of Craft. So I'll click apply on that, and you'll see that I'm back to the basic configuration dialog. You can change those fields, and you'll see that there's a bug. I think there's a bug because there's a icon there for this specific field, but it is not reflected in the summary of the collection configuration here. So I have also a date that has been submitted. The processing state, so each feedback will get attention from the Craft team, so eventually they will be to process. They're working on it. It is either rejected or completed. So those are the states that a specific user feedback will go through. Who is the user who will be, or who is the employee who will be processing this feedback? So here it's a relation where I'll be referring to another collection in order to be able to select the employee which will be affected or assigned to this specific user feedback. I'll come back later about the two-way relation, because it requires a very specific explanation. And so when you are creating a relation, you will see that there is a related field. So you have to select the given name in the destination collection. And so we'll come back to that later. And then the last field in this collection is another two-way relation, which is referring to another collection, which is the releases collection. And this, again, this is a two-way relationship. So this is the basic of the collection, the first collection that I'm going to use. So let's see how it goes when we are creating a new user feedback. There's two ways where you can create a new collection item. The first one is to go over here on the top right corner, and you can click the add button, or you can go here at the bottom left corner, and you can create a new item right there. So I click on this, and I'll give it a feedback title. So let's say I want the Craft team to add end-to-end encryption. So add end-to-end encryption. So that's the title of the feedback. When I'm in this state here, if I type tab on my keyboard, it won't go to the next field. So you have first to tap to select enter, and then if you go and tab, then you will be able to go to the next field. If I go enter here on this field, the down and up arrows are working. So I'm going to kind of select the security area because I think this is related to the security area of Craft. And then if I click enter on that, it doesn't work. So you have to dismiss this this pop-up in order to see the actual selection. The date submitted, so let's say it's today. So you will notice that I had to click on this in order to date to the today's date to be filled. Again, I have to kind of click there, click on that, and then it will go up here. And the reason it changed the order is because there is a sort order actually applied to this collection. So I'll go back to that a little bit later. The processing state of this submission is to process. So the guys at the Craft will be notified, or they would kind of know that this is a new user feedback that needs to be processed. Let's say it's a big issue, it's a big work that would require major engineering efforts. So this is going to be the founder of Craft that will be assigned to that, and maybe have also Victor to work on this because it's really a big request by the users. So you see that there is 2 people assigned to this, and for now, it won't be released in any specific release because I didn't explain again what is the release pipeline. So I'll leave it blank for now. So as you can see, this is how you would create a new item in a collection. It's not perfect. There's a few rough edges, and this is version 3.01. And I think it needs some work, but it's working pretty good right now. Oh, by the way, if I go there and I click on this arrow there, you will see that I have all my fields at the top here and all the definition of the fields for this specific, for this collection. I could decide to add a new field for all the collection items. I can do that at the page level. So if I click on add fields right there, it means that it will create a new field that needs to be filled for all the collection items in the collection. So this is something that you have to know. The nice thing about collection items is that an item is a page. So if you click down below here, this is a page. So you can have whatever content you want. You can have a long document which will contain cards, page. I didn't test having a collection within this area, but my guess is it would be working. So this is really a full page like any other pages in Craft, except that there's a user-defined fields which are at the top here. So that's one of the reasons why you would create a collection. If you want to organize information, you want to have some fields or metadata, which are fields itself that describe this information, and then you want to write a lot of information for every items that you want to collect, then this is a collection, and this is a good idea to create a collection for that. If you are only entering information in a tabular format like in Excel, and you have just a bunch of fields, but there is no need to enter more data into this item, then I would say just to create a table. Now let's go back to the collection which is called the employees. This collection is very simple. There is the name of the employee and the feedback being assigned to this employee. So I just entered the end-to-end encryption feature request which was assigned to Balint and Victor. And so if I go on this specific employee here, like Victor, you should see that there is the add end-to-end encryption shown here because there is a relationship between the user feedback itself and the user or the employee who will be working on that specific user feedback. So this is how you see the data for a specific relation in a collection item. If I go back there, I go and see Balint, you see that the add end-to-end encryption is added right there. Also, the other important thing is that when you are looking at detail of a specific relation in a collection item, you can go back to the source of the relation. So there is something that is called user feedback that was called introduce real database support. If I click on that, I should go back to the collection itself and see the actual user feedback where it is defined. So in this specific user feedback, you see that it was seen as a core feature um, target by this specific user feedback. It was submitted on December 2nd, but it was rejected, and also it was processed by Balint. So it won't be released in any upcoming release of Craft. And so here, the employees at Craft could write down the reasons behind why the user feedback has been rejected, a link to the announcement of that rejection in a public post, for example. So there's a lot of creativity that can go here, and where you can complement the information right there. So that's the structured information part, and the bottom one is more freeform, which is actually a Craft page. So this is how you see the detailed relation about a specific user feedback. Now, when a user feedback in this example is accepted and it is going to be processed, eventually it will be assigned to a specific Craft release, which means that if, for example, Craft version 3.2 is going to introduce the support for one of the highly requested feedback, user feedback or request, which is the support for tags, then we would create a new release here, and we could give a name to this release, which kind of summarize the theme of this release. We give it a version number, a date to be released, so it can be in the future, and also the actual content of this release. So we could go there. We see that this is version 3.2, which is supposed to be released in January 10 of 2025. Again, this is an example. It's not going to be like the case, I'm pretty sure. And this specific release contains the feature request, which was to add support for tags. So if there were more things into this specific or in a specific release, then we could see that if we go there, we could have more feature requests assigned to this specific release. So as you can see, Craft Collection can be pretty powerful to support very simple workflows or business processes. And so this is, I think, a great example how you can use Craft Collections. Now, what I'm going to do is to add a relation to the release pipeline collection down here, because I want to specify for each release which platform the release is targeting. Most of the time, a release would target the Mac and the iPad, iPhone, and maybe the web and the Windows version, but some release might be targeting a specific platform. So I want to reflect that in my use case here. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Craft Task to see how is my video or my explanation is going. So I'm going to expand here and go on the task view here. And as you can see, there's a pin docs, a pin document here, which is the actual document for supporting my use case here. So I can click on that here, and I'll see that I have a few tasks to complete. So far, we have visited a page which is a collection. I've done that. I will explain later about a more detailed explanation of two-way relations. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. So you see that the task has been checked off the list, and I'm going to create a new link, a new field here, which is I'll name it platforms. I'm going to use this icon, which has been selected for me. And this will be a multi-select field, and I'm going to add values, which is the Mac. I won't pay attention to the color. The iPad, the iPhone, the Windows version of Craft, as well as the web version of Craft. So those are all possible platforms that I'll be able to select for each release of in the pipeline. So I'm going to add this field to the collection, So let's say that I want to add the support for shortcuts, and as you know, shortcuts are not available to the Windows version and the web version. It's only available on the iPhone, the iPad, and on the Mac. So this is how I would select which platforms is this release is actually targeting. Styles, it would be about everywhere on the Mac, on the iPad, on the iPhone, on the Windows, and on the web version too. And as you can see, as more and more tags are selected in this multi-select fields, you will see that the view here is kind of compressed. I think you can play with that and have a more expanded view, but this is the maximum width I can use. I can put it like that. And also, I can do the same thing for tags. Eventually, tags will come to all platforms, so I could just select every platform in this release. If I go in this specific collection items, I have a different view here with each tags being visually expanded. So it's a nice design here. And also, again, I can enter any explanation of this specific release. So if I go back there, so this is how you would create a new field where I can have a multi-select option. There's another way to do that though. Now let's say that I want to have a better way to track how a platform evolves over time. So if I want to track all the changes and the feature release that was released for a specific platform like the Mac or only the iPad, it will be harder to have this done with a multi-select type of field. I could try to work on some grouping and sorting and filtering, and it could do the work. But if I want to have a more flexible way of tracking how a platform is evolving with new features, I could create a new collection which will be called platforms, and for each platforms I'll be able to have a relationship between the release pipeline and the platform. So let's try to do that. So first I'm going to create a new collection, and this is where it gets here. I'll just enter that there. I'll give it a name. It's platforms, and the platform will have a name. And I think I will, for now, what I'll do is I'll remove that here. And I'm going to simply delete that field because just for the explanation purposes, I'm going to have the name of the platform. So the first one will be the Mac, the second one would be the iPad, the third one will be the iPhone, the fourth one will be the Windows platform, and the last one will be the web. Again, for each platform, I will be able to enter a bunch of data because it's a page. And then what I'm going to do here is instead of using this type of field, I will be creating a new one so we can see both side by side. So I'm going to create a new relation, which will be platform target. And then I'm going to use a relation, and I'm going to have a relation between this release pipeline collection and another one, which is the platforms. And then it will be a two-way relation because I want from the platforms collection to be able to go back to the source collection to have a better navigation between my data. So I'm going to give a name to this field in the other collection, and it will be, since it's coming from the release pipeline, so I'm going to be release. It will be the release field collection that I'm going to refer to. So this is the new field that appears in the destination collection, and the source collection contains the platform target that I have created. So let's try to replace those with using the new relation. So in this case here, I'm going to use the Mac, the iPad, and the iPhone, and as you can see here, you see the field is being populated with the actual selection. I'll do the same here for the last two, which are basically yes, all the platforms that is going to be selected for that. And the last one here, going to be all the platforms. So if I want to see how things are evolving for the Mac, for example, I go there and I'll see that I have a specific release which contains all those features. So I can have a documentation here where I will be able to see when was the support tag introduced for the Mac version. So I could document all that in this specific area of the collection item. So it's pretty nice. And now what I can do is simply delete that. But before doing that, I'm going to explain how you can organize information within a collection by using sorting, grouping, and filtering. Now let's try to manipulate our data in our collection. The first thing I'm going to try is to filter out release pipeline based on specific criteria. I'm going to use the filtering option, which is accessible with those three dots menu there. I'm going to select filter, and then I'll select the field with which I want to filter my data. So I'm going to select first the platform, which is this column here. And I'm going to use platform any of, none of, or is empty, or is not empty, or is specifically. So if I want to filter out and only the Windows version, you'll see that it is empty because it's not, there is no collection items that is exactly that. But if I select every one, then there will be 2 releases that are targeting all the platforms. So this is very restrictive. I can also use any of, and if I change this and I select the web version, there's only 2 releases that are targeting the web version of Craft. So this is how you would do that using the multi-select type of field. But let's see how we could do that using the relation here that is doing exactly the same thing, but in a more refined way. So those are relation to the platforms collection here. So I'm going to try to filter out using that. So I'm going to select the field, which is the platform target. And then from there, I can select is all of, and then select the value. So I want to have the Mac, or I want to have the iPhone, it's the same, or only the Windows. There is 2 releases again that are targeting the Windows version of Craft. So you see that this is the same result, but it's kind of presented in a different way. And as you can see, I can have another field here. If I go there, I'll select the Windows version, and then I can create a new field here, a new selection based on the date release. And this could be is before, let's say, example, the December 2024, which would be any releases that were targeted to the Windows version in 2024 only. So this is how you would do that using the filtering feature. And I think it's pretty mature. It's pretty flexible how you can manipulate your data using filtering. And I think you can also reorder those, and you can add a bunch of filtering criteria to filter out your data. So it's pretty powerful. I can do that also the same way on the user feedback collection itself. Let's say I want to know which user feedback is currently being processed or to be processed. So I can go there, select the processing state here, and then select to process. So there is 2 user feedback that still needs to be processed. So this is how you would do it. So it's pretty nice. So that's for the filtering of data. Sorting data is a similar process. So you go there in the 3 dots menu, you select sort, and actually this collection here is already sorted by the date submitted. So that's why when I created a new submission earlier in the video, it was placed at the right place for the end-to-end encryption. It's from the latest to the oldest submission. I can add another level of sort, like the titles. If there is more than one title or one submission for the same date, I can do that. I can change the order, and we should see a change here. And that's pretty much it how you would select sorting. It's pretty simple. If I go there, I'm going to also sort by who is processing the user feedback. So this is how you can do that, and you can change also the order of the filtering, and also not the filtering but the sorting, and you can remove those if you wish. So that's pretty much for the sorting options. Now, the third way to organize your collection items is by using the grouping feature, and it is also accessible with this menu here. You can go and select the grouping, and let's say I want to group with the area first, and you'll see that the collection display is adapting to this new grouping criteria. So I have all the requests touching the core feature of Craft. I have the one that is targeting the OS compatibility area, and then there's the one with the security area. So I can change that, and I can change the order in which those the grouping will be done. There's only one level of grouping, by the way. There's either you don't have any or you have only one. You can also change the grouping by another field, like the processing state. And if you want to have more grouping, because there was only one grouping level, this is where you can save the current view. So in order to do that, I'm going to create and remove that here. I don't want to have this grouping applied here. I'm going to remove that. And then this is the alt feedback. I have a group feedback already created, which was, I think it was with the processing state. If I want to create a new view, I can go here, rename, and I will select a grouping by, I think it's a processing here. This one is processing, so this one will be the area instead. Area. And then for that specific view, I'm going to select the area for this grouping, and you can see that the area is already saved. It's all automatically saved. So this is how you have different ways of organizing your data using the grouping function, because there was only one level of grouping that is possible. So that's for the grouping. So already we saw the filtering, the sorting, and the grouping, and the thing is that you can use those in conjunction, have more complex way of displaying things. And if I want to have this area, this view here, which is not actually showing the process by, I could simply go there. Here in this view, show and hide, I will hide this process by field, and also which release. And then this is how I would display my data, or more complete. So it's very flexible. So now let's see how I'm doing with my subjects that I want to cover in this video. So we have created a multi-select field. We have also added a two-way relation between employees and release pipeline. And I think we did the two-way relation has been explained. Now I'm going to how you can put a collection inside a template and see how it goes when you are creating a new document with this template. So let's expand on that here and go in the template. Here I'm going to create a template with a collection, and I'm going to create a very quick collection, which will be this, and I'll just leave it there. I'm going to maybe rename that to all details. This is the default view, and I'll give it a name. This is a collection in a template. So this thing will be replicated each time I'm creating a new document using this template. So let's say I'm going there, and I'm using the select template here. I'm going to use this here, and I'm going to use this, and here is my collection right in the template. This has some implications because there is no concepts of global collections that you can refer to from different documents, because each collection are living inside a very specific document. So I give you this example here because I want you to realize that there is not this concept of global collection. Something that we had before with the craft objects, where we could have objects that are sitting and standing on their own. It's not the case with collection, so this might have some implication on the modeling of some of your process that you want to have in your craft environment. So this is something that I wanted to tell you. The other thing that you have to know, it's not really related to templates, but you have to know that you can refer to a collection using the @ sign when you are typing text. I'm going to show you that right now. Now you can create links to a collection or a specific collection items anywhere in the document. So let's say you want to document the end-to-end encryption feature request. You go in this collection item here, and then you can type, this is some text, and then right here you can either select a collection like the employee, or you can also select someone in the employee collection like Victor. So if I'm going there like that, if I want to click on this, it will bring me directly to the Victor item in this collection. And if I want to see the employee collection overall, I click on that, and I'll be brought to the actual collection, and the block will be selected. And the reason for that is that, first, if I go back here in the user feedback again, this is possible here simply because, again, a collection item is a page, and you can refer using the @ sign any page in any documents within your space. And also you can refer to a collection because simply because the fact that a block, which is the collection itself is a block, and you can refer to a block using the @ sign like I did right there. And you can see that there is some previews of the actual objects that I'm actually referring. So if I go there, I can see that Victor is selected. I click on that, and I can have this page here displayed. So this is how you can use links between collection. And I think we just covered the putting a collection inside a template. Now let's talk about moving things around a little bit. What if you want to have this specific collection item to stand in its own page without being inside a collection? So I'll try to do something that is possible. If you right click on that, and you can, I think you can either insert above, below, clear cell content, delete row. I'm going to click on that maybe and select a move to a new document. So what I'm going to do is to kind of create a document. This is a collection item that will become a document. So again, I come back here, I can select this. You see there's this little icon there. It's because it's telling me that there is some content within the page or the collection item itself, which is below the fields. So that's why this icon is there. So I'm going to right click in this little column here, which is the collection item numbers, and I'm going to move to a document. So the oh, that is weird because I no longer have this collection here. I'm going to see what's just happened there. So you see the collection is on another page or another document. There's no issue there. It's okay. There's no problem. What I was trying to do actually was to move this thing around. So I'm going to try to maybe drag and drop. Drag and drop for filter and sort in a group is not yet implemented. So I'm going to remove the filtering. If I have one sorting, I'll remove that. And I'll try to move things around. Can I move that here? Can I move that there? Right now I cannot do that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to move that as a page. Move. This is Move to daily note. It's hard because I cannot see how I can do that. Maybe here, move out. I don't think we can. Oh, yeah. So as soon as there is no sorting order, I guess, let's try that again. If I do a sort with a title, right click on that. Oh yeah, I can still move that out. So I'm going to move that out and it will go somewhere right at the top of the document that was containing the collection. So if I click on that, you will see that I don't have any more fields. I lost the fields associated with this collection item, but I still do have the content of the item itself because it's a page actually. If I want to go there, I can move this around and move that inside this folder. So it's there. But what if I want to move it back to the collection? I'm wondering if the data is still there in the field. So let's try that. It's pretty simple to do that. I'm going to maybe use this document here, which was the collection. I'm going to put it there. So I go there. So I want to move this feature request back to the collection. So what I'm going to do is to click this and move it on top of the user feedback collection and drop it. I'll try that again. Maybe if I put it there, and then from there, I'm going to insert that into the collection. So now it works. So now are the fields still there? No, they're gone. So it's very important to understand that as soon as you move things out of a collection, the relationship are broken, the data is lost, and you have to kind of retype or reset those things so that you get back your data. So it's a very important thing to know, I think. Now I'm going to put back this collection into the document, the master document. So what I'm going to do here is simply go there and move my document right there. And I should be able to see, no, it's not there. I can click on that. I'm going to put it there back. And I'm going to come here. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is put this collection inside this document here. So I get rid of that, delete, come back here, and I should have my collection at the top. I'll move it there. And I can also insert a page break because it's cleaner. So again, I'm back to where I was before. Now, let's see how we can export some data from this, which will cover the last subject here. This has been done. Exporting data. So if you go there, the usual way of exporting data is to export as a PDF, which is more like a printing thing. So if I go there, you will see that this is only printing according to my page break. This is not what I want to do. I'm going also to go and try to export in Word. It will be weird, and I'm not sure how it will look. Let's try that, export. I have a Word document, double click on that, and it will open up Word. And you see the collection becomes a table in Word, which is not bad, by the way. I'm surprised by that. You can work around with that thing, and you can also, and why there's a few links here is because there's a link to pages in the document. Some document contains data, so I go there, you see some text that has been entered there, and there was a backlink to the actual employee in the Victor, which is an employee in the employee collection. So that's for the exporting into Word. I'm going to close that and come back here. And then if I export an image or Markdown, let's try that in Markdown. So you see there's some text that will be the collection items will become table using Markdown. If you are using an app like Ulysses, you should be able to use that. So I'm going to go there, close that. And if I go here, I'm going to try to open that document using the Ulysses, which is here. Let's see how it goes. And you see that there's this table, which is not bad, but it's not perfect. So this is how you could export data using the Markdown format, and also there's the email. I'm not going to try that, and the usual thing in Craft. But what about a specific collection? So if I want to export that user feedback table, what I'm going to do is go there. It's not in the menu here. It's not at the collection level itself, because this is where you configure the collection, but the export is not there, which I think is pretty weird. You go there in the three-dot menu here, and I think the reason there is a download as a CSV, I think it's because it will consider the actual filtering of the data to export the data. So if I go there, download as a CSV, I'll go there and put it there, and I'll see how it goes. Space on that, and you see that the table is right there. So it works, and you can then do that for all your collection in your documents. So before concluding this video, I want to share a few more thoughts about collections and tables. I would say that collections are the best if you want to collect data and you want to have more than the basic fields that you would have in a simple Craft table. In Craft tables and also in Craft collections, depending on the fields, if you have numeric values, you can do some calculations, which I'm not going to show here. But as soon as you want to have more data than a simple text field of text, you want to add images. And so I would suggest to consider collections. I did not try using collection for like hundreds and hundreds of collection items, but according to what I'm reading on Slack, it should be able to support that. Also, I think it's still a work in progress in general. There's a few things that are not yet implemented in Craft 3.01, and I think it won't be either in 3.02, but it's still a work in progress. Like many software, it requires a lot of iterations in order to deliver the full vision. And I'm referring here to Apple Intelligence on the Apple ecosystem. It will take a lot of releases before the full vision of Apple Intelligence get to reality. And I would say the same for collections. They're not as powerful at what the Craft objects was when it was in beta earlier this year. I'm not going to go into which one is better. Let's move on, and now we have Craft collection to work with. So this is something that I think needs some work. Also, the data mobility is still a concern. If you want to export data, you can do that, but some work might be needed in order to recover your original relationships that you had before, depending on the format that you are using for exportation. Some people will try to compare that to what we can do in Notion. Of course, Notion is more powerful and is more fully packed with all those features related to collections, where they call it databases. And I think that Craft is not and will ever become Notion in that respect. So I would say this is what I had to share with the collection. I think it's one of the biggest change that comes to Craft in a long time, and it might also change or enable a lot of new workflows that was not possible before, and for that it's a good thing. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you liked it. I hope that you'll learn a few things along the way. Craft collections is a deep subject in itself, and this is why this video is a little bit longer than it should have been before if I compare to other videos. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being there. If you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's time to do so, because you won't miss any upcoming videos. So thank you for being there, and see you guys for another one soon. Bye.